Of course, what the terrorists want is for atrocities like this to goad everyone into picking up the same mental polarising goggles they use, which divide the world into simple clumps of goodies and baddies.
In reality, of course, the world isn't black and white, more like 50 Shades of Grey, a punishing story in which everything and everyone is f***ed.
Across the ocean, the bombastic Fox News was already wearing simple polarising goggles of its own.
We are being hunted, so how would you like for us to be protected? What message do you want to send?
I think the best thing that Americans can do is arm themselves.
Me too.
How can Americans arm themselves more than they already are? What are they going to do? Glue guns to the end of their guns?
Sometimes bad guys don't look like bad guys.
Right, and that's my question about these guys, because if we know they were speaking unaccented French and they had, you know, ski masks on, do we even know what color they were, what the tone of their skin was? I mean, what if they didn't look like typical bad guys?
Well, it's simple. You just don't open fire till you've identified them as bad guys from your handy pocket-sized skin tone chart of evil. It's also available as an app.
Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Janine Pirro. Thanks for being with us tonight. We need to kill them.
What?
We need to kill them.
What, you and me? How are we going to do that?
Bomb them, and bomb them again.
Ironically, this is a bit like being radicalised by an ideological hate preacher in a slickly produced video. Some commentators weren't just concerned about Islamic terrorists, but the whole of Islam, claiming the Islamification of Europe had gone too far, and it's time we drew a veil over it, then removed that veil and banned it. Fox News raised eyebrows by erroneously claiming Paris contains Islam-only no-go zones, then raised them even further with an astonishing exclusive revealing Britain's got no-go cities.
In Britain, it's not just no-go zones. There are actual cities like Birmingham that are totally Muslim, where non-Muslims just simply don't go in.
Yeah, Birmingham, halal on earth. Other religions don't even get a look in. There's only half a dozen Hindus. They're known as the Birmingham Sikhs.
Of course, the police have been investigating Birmingham for decades. As this intriguing film proves, TV's Kojak was investigating the place back in 1981.
Riding the express elevator to the top of one of the city's highest buildings, this is the view that nearly took my breath away.
God, look at that. Mosques and minarets as far as the eye can't see. Still away from Birmingham, you can't even trust the cops, as the Foxbert explained.
Parts of London, there are actually Muslim religious police that actually beat and actually wound seriously anyone who doesn't dress according to religious Muslim attire.
Yeah, and you know where those Islamic police are based? Scotland Jihad. Anyway, as well as no-go zones that weren't there, questions were also raised about average everyday Muslims who didn't have anything to do with this. What did they have to do with this? Well, to find out, I've got one in the studio with me now. So, hey, representing all Muslims as you do, when are you lot going to do more to condemn the violence?
Well, for some time now, many Muslims have spoken out against this type of violence.
I can't hear you.
Well, I'm actually trying to explain.
I suppose I can take this as tacit approval. Tacit approval, everyone.
In a bid to promote harmony, government Sontaran Eric Pickles tried to tackle extremism by writing a letter urging Muslims to do all they could to distance themselves from extremism.
Trouble was he couldn't find an address for the Jihadi Psychopath Council and instead wrote to every mosque in Britain.
The Muslim Council had a problem with who the letter targeted.
Why are the Muslim community being singled out?
Cameron said people who had a problem with the letter were the problem.
And anyone, frankly, reading this letter who has a problem with it, I think really has a problem.
And the News decided to find out if it was a problem for people who hadn't even read it yet because they'd been invited on to discuss something else.
Do you think Mr. Pickles is patronising the Muslim community?
Well, I have to confess, I haven't read the letter myself.
Well, what are you doing in politics? Come on, everyone's talking about it. It's the middle of the afternoon and you still haven't read this.
I don't think you're being terribly fair. Your viewers can make their own decision. So you're not going to speak until you get the party line right. OK, well, we'll have to end it there. Shadow Business Secretary, thank you very much indeed.
Oh, well done. Another victory for division and hatred. Of course, the Paris atrocity wasn't just an attack on specific humans, but more widely on freedom of speech. It proved the pen may be mightier than the sword, but falters in round two when up against the Kalashnikov.